Oh, good day, my Animaniacs. I'm your B-Movie proctologist, Jeff Arbuckle, and I'm here with Nurse Disembody for another episode of B-Movie Enema, the series. Now, if you haven't seen this show before, I sit at the exit of the great B-Movie poop chute. And any minute now, we should be getting this week's movie delivered as it really kind of starts to, kind of jar itself loose down there, if you know what I mean. And in fact, oh, looks like it's about time for us to get this week's movie, Nurse.
I'm ready for it, Doc.
All right, Nurse, tell us what we have for this week.
This week, we'll be watching 1975's The Love Butcher. In this movie, we meet Caleb and his alter ego, Lester. When Caleb gets pushed too far, Lester comes to dole out revenge to those who have wronged him.
All right, fucking A. Well, this is directed by two people, Don Jones and Mikel Angel. And this is one of the many, many films in the vast exploitation career of the great Cameron Mitchell. Now, Mitchell started out as...
Jeff? This movie doesn't star Cameron Mitchell. In fact, he's nowhere in this movie.
What? Are you sure?
Yup.
But that's him right there on the cover.
No, it really isn't. It's a guy named James Lemp, who is credited as Eric Stern.
No way. That's Cameron Mitchell. I know that face anywhere.
It's right here on the box. It says Eric Stern.
I am dubious as all get out on this.
Poop shoot! Send the other poster art! See? This is not Cameron Mitchell. It's James Lemp, aka Eric Stern.
So it is. I've lived my entire life believing that Cameron Mitchell was on the cover of this movie.
Well, it isn't. It's somebody... What's that?
Beats me. I mean, probably the building settling or something. This place was kind of built on the shittiest possible plot of land to, kind of save some dough and the whatnot.
That doesn't make me feel any better.
Oh. Anyway, one of the directors, Don Jones, had made a couple of movies before this one. One was called Who Killed Cock Robin, which is also known as Who Did Cock Robin, which you have to admit I'm kind of curious about that title. Then in 1970 he made Schoolgirls in Chains, which also sounds appealing. The next film that he made after The Love Butcher was Sweater Girls, which features sexy teens creating a club as a way to preserve their virginity, and I'm sure that does not work at all. The final film that he directed came in 1991 when he made Molly and the Ghost. That's really starting to kind of freak me out.
You and me both.
Now, while Jones was mostly a sound guy, the other director, Mikel Angel, or Michael Angel, it's spelled in the kind of European way, so I'm not entirely sure which way it's pronounced, but he was mostly an actor with about a dozen or so writing credits. He did movies like The Black Six, Lady Coco, and The Candy Tangerine Man. That last one was one that I wrote about on the B-Movie Enema website, so, shameless plug, go over to the website and check that out. But he directed the first cut of The Love Butcher. Now, my guess is that it didn't really pass muster and then went to Jones. Angel, however, had a lot of roles in biker flicks, including having an uncredited role as one of the devil-worshipping monks in Werewolves on Wheels. Angel sadly passed away at the age of 74 in 2001. Now, as for Jones, whether or not at the time that I'm filming this episode, I don't know whether or not he's passed away. I'm really not sure, but it was stated that he did get to travel the world as he managed to pick up whatever jobs he could. And the last bit of info that I saw in his IMDb profile was that he's retired in Southern California. His probably best known Film turned out to be 1982's The Forest, which I only recognize because of the movie's font on the promotional materials, but to be honest with you, I haven't seen it. That said, it is time to watch The Love Butcher. While we get this movie started, Nurse Disembody and I will be trying to kind of figure out what these noises...
Correction. You are going to check out the noises. I'm thinking about getting the fuck out of here. This isn't any better, Jeff.
I know. I'm not exactly sure what to say. The plumber said it isn't the pipes. The doctors say a zombie apocalypse hasn't all of a sudden broken out. The masons say it isn't the building settling. And, well, that electrician that we brought in is just sitting over there in the corner drinking a beer.
I could really use a drink.
No, sir. We're all out of beer. Besides, where did you even find that? This is a clinic.
This is what we get for hiring help from the discount section of the Yellow Pages.
You can say that again. So, we meet Caleb, our Foghorn Leghorn-esque handyman, who helps do some gardening or landscaping or something. He's got a little bit of a costume, Coke bottle, glasses, and buck teeth look going on for him. Now, he also tends to basically announce his thoughts. For example, he says he'd like a drink and that he's going to go ask the pretty lady that he's working for a glass of water. And, well, he does exactly that. He later goes home to get berated by his baby brother Lester, who sits in his chair as if it is a throne and is constantly facing away from us. Now, Caleb is, as we previously sussed out earlier, though I still can't believe it, definitely not Cameron Mitchell. So Caleb is played by James Limp, but he's credited in this as Eric Stern. Limp had been working on mostly TV shows since the mid-60s. Come the 70s, he commonly was credited as Eric Stern. With that, he continued to work mostly TV series. Interestingly, in 1978, Stern appeared in a couple of episodes of The Amazing Spider-Man live-action TV series, as well as the live-action Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman. So that's a neat little trifecta. Later on, he worked on popular TV series Knight Rider, The Love Boat, Simon & Simon, Hunter, The Fall Guy, Matlock, Murder, She Wrote, and Riptide. And in between some of those series, he did appear in a few movies like Charles Bronson's Assassination, another movie I've written about over on the website, shameless plug, and the 80s Cold War thriller War Games. Anyway, it was no surprise that Caleb did not have a brother. Besides, we kind of ruined that surprise for you in the previous segment.
Whoops.
Oh well. Anyway, Caleb talks to Lester. Caleb is awkward and ugly. Lester is smooth and attractive. He's been killing some women too, as it turns out. It mostly centers around the idea that whenever Caleb is mistreated or feels as though he has been treated poorly, he calls in Lester to correct the problem. So with that said, we should get back to the movie before long.
Okay, seriously, what is that?
I really don't know.
You know, I think all this started shortly after the realization that Cameron Mitchell is not in this movie.
Yeah, you know what? That does seem to kind of line up.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, I do.
Will you close the fucking door? God damn it. What now?
B-Movie legend Cameron Mitchell, boss!
Mr. Mitchell, what are you doing here?
You could call me Cameron, kid. I was summoned. Every time some asshole online watches this goddamn movie, they think I'm the guy on the cover art. I'm not, but it always summons me.
Ha! I knew it. I knew it was you who was causing all those sounds.
It was you, kid.
Yeah, sorry, Cameron.
Ah, God damn it, kid. Call me Mr. Mitchell. Got it?
Oh, yes. Sorry, Mr. Mitchell.
Don't you forget it, kid. Hey, what's your story, Toots? You a nurse or something?
Yes, Mr. Mitchell, I am.
Nah. You could call me Cameron. Actually, you could call me anything you want, dollface.
Oh, Cameron, you're so kind.
So, tell me, you gotta deal with this dork over here? Or do you have time to talk to me for a while, honey?
Oh, I've got all the time in the world for you, Cameron. You have your own yacht up there in heaven.
Yeah, I won it in a stacked game of Parcheesi. Come up here sometime and I'll take you for a ride.
Ooh, that would be great. I've never been on a fancy boat before.
We'll be back in a bit. Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, you're still here, kid?
It's sort of his show.
Oh, is it now? Yeah, what do you want?
I just had some questions about your movies.
Do you now? Well, that's something I could talk about.
Awesome. So, in Low Blow, did you get the opportunity to kind of discuss your character with...
Low Blow? Was I in that?
Yes, you were.
What was I in that? Was I the lead?
No, you were the blind cult leader bad guy.
Did I grope any women in it?
Yes, yes, you did. I mean, that was kind of a common thing in a lot of your movies, Mr. Mitchell.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So in Raw Force, you played a boat captain, and the lady who played your boss, who went on to, who was also Mrs. Roper on TV. She was wearing that tube top thing. Was that constantly like falling down, and her fun bags were always kind of hanging out there?
All the time.
I bet that was pretty uncomfortable.
Well, only because she constantly was trying to show them to me. I don't know if you know this, but I'm quite successful with the ladies.
Oh, I'm sure.
You sassing me, boy?
Oh, no, sir, not at all. No, sir.
Good. Anyway, she was all over me through the whole filming of that movie. She was crazy about it. It was her idea in that movie for us to have that, what do you call it? Sexual chemistry? You know, where we fight like dogs through the movie and then we end up together at the end? Yeah, that was all her. She wanted us to have a full-on sex scene at the end of the movie, too. She was a weird broad, man. Then there was that one chick on the set of Space Mutiny. You know, the one that looked like Stevie Nicks? That whole scene in which she was giving me the story of what's going on in the factory part of the ship. She was running her hands all over me. It was supposed to be like mind sex. Well, that was all her. I just showed up and did my scenes like a professional. All these skirts just wanted to get their hands on me.
Okay, well, Mr. Mitchell, I sure am sorry I summoned you with my confusion over whether or not you were actually in The Love Butcher.
No, it's fine. Hey, as good as it is up here, sometimes it's nice to check in on the living world, too.
What's heaven like, Mr. Mitchell?
Heaven? It's wonderful. There's a bar in every cloud. There's no such thing as money. People all love you. There are 2 Charlie's Angels up here. This is great. Of course, neither Tanya or Farrah can keep their hands off me.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Now, you did mention Tanya Roberts there, and in this segment, we meet Sheila, who is seemingly the young pigtail-wearing wife of a dickhead who hates rock and roll. And now she's played by Robin Sherwood. This was the first movie for Sherwood, but she would get some notable films like Blowout in 1981, Death Wish 2 as Bronson's daughter in 1982, but she was also in Tourist Trap as one of the 3 girls who ran afoul of Chuck Connors. One of the other girls was Tanya Roberts, of course, and Tanya Roberts recently passed away, but she was very well known for not just Tourist Trap, but as Mr. Mitchell said, she was also one of Charlie's Angels.
Speaking of, I better go. I'm meeting the girls over at the 6 Cloud New Tavern for a party. Can I give you some advice, kid?
Sure, Mr. Mitchell. I would be glad to hear some advice.
I know it seems like you're nice and safe inside the 4 walls you built around yourself. but it doesn't do any good to stay closed off from the world altogether. Your lovely nurse told me that you're a bit of a homebody. Get out and make an impact on the world, Jeffrey. You can only be as free as you allow yourself. You can only be as creative as you are free.
That's actually really great advice, Mr. Mitchell. Thank you so much.
No problem, kid, and hey, call me Cameron.
Can I call you Dad?
Absolutely not.
Wow. That was something, wasn't it, Nurse?
It sure was.
Do you think he was drunk?
Oh, 100%.
And so we come to the conclusion of The Love Butcher. And Nurse, I can't say this was all that great of a movie.
No.
I know, right? I mean, the problems with this movie extend beyond my utter confusion over this not starring Cameron Mitchell. Go back to sleep, Mr. Mitchell. I'm not summoning you, Dad. No, the problem is that this movie wants it several different ways. The Love Butcher is billed as a horror movie, and I suppose it kind of is. It's got a stalking crazy guy who has multiple personalities who kill people, namely women, who are not kind to him. Okay, I get it, right? There's that one scene in which he's pretending to conduct a symphony as he replays a recent kill, jumping back and forth between his ideal looks and persona and his reality. And that's a really nice touch. There's a touch of exploitation in the movie because he mostly stalks women. And there are opportunities to kind of play up the looks of his victims as well. However, there's also multiple kinds of comedy at play here too. There's the simple fact that Caleb is a cartoony, buck-toothed guy with nerdy glasses, and he talks and acts like a southern dullard. There's that scene in which he pretends to be a Puerto Rican door-to-door record salesman. That's kind of goofy. There's a thing with the people investigating the murders that seem to be sort of played up as a comedy.
Don't forget Sheila and her husband joking about their sex life.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. In the middle of this horror movie about a deranged man, a husband rails on his wife's taste in music. He's like this fuddy-duddy while she's kind of a young hip hottie. He also doesn't want to give her sex. Now he claims it saps the natural and vital fluids like a fucking weirdo. If you go to certain corners of the internet, you hear people saying the same thing nowadays. It's really weird. Even the music plays up the kind of eye-rolling jokes. And I feel like that this was meant to kind of tip the hat towards comedic elements of 70s porno films, maybe. Or more of the contemporary views on relationships, women's lib, etc. I don't know, but I feel like there's too much cluttering up the movie. But I did like the Caleb and Lester stuff. That's at least well done, and it was mostly lighthearted stuff that comes from the goofy Caleb side of the personality, and that would be good. I like some of the dramatic music stings when Caleb and Lester are fighting. When Caleb tells Flo, the one customer who is kind to him, about how women don't take kindly to disabled people. I like it. You kind of feel bad for Caleb, but it's also manipulated. People are cruel to his face, and I feel like that's really only there to help set up the customers to be rooted against in favor of giving you sympathy for Caleb. But then it's undercut a little bit by how Caleb acts. It's all very weird and feels, I don't know, maybe a little too busy in terms of how the movie works out.
Would it have been better with Cam? Oh, yeah, sorry. But do ya?
Totally. I mean, why wouldn't you think he wouldn't knock this out of the goddamn park?
At least a lot of it starts to calm down for the final act.
True. I mean, the story with Russ and Flo feels at first just kind of thrown in there willy-nilly, but it actually does play a real important part of the final act. Flo and Russ had a bit of a breakup because she seems to think that he cares more about his job than he does her. But then she makes friends with Caleb right before he puts it all together that, indeed Caleb is the killer. So it does kind of set up this climactic scene in which Lester attacks and kills Russ, but not before he was able to tell the cops what he had figured out. That did help coalesce all the stuff in the first hour of the movie.
It did get pretty tense too when Lester was talking to Flo.
Oh, indeed. I mean, Lester says some seriously insane things. Plus, we learned that Lester was always the real brother. Caleb died at a young age and their mother blamed Lester for it. So his guilt did that thing where he basically morphed into both the brother he was and the brother he was blamed for killing. So Caleb was also disabled and mocked for it, so he kind of took up that revenge stuff too. Oh, and did you expect the two main protagonists to die in this movie?
No. I also can't say I've ever heard anyone order someone to fill me with nymphoid satisfaction before.
Never?
Nope.
Now, I think there are certain corners of some website message boards that use that kind of language, much like with the sapping of the energy and stuff. But anyway, let's tell them where the good B-Movie Enema stuff can be found.
You can find all of Jeff's writings at www.bmovieenema.com. He posts new text articles each and every Friday morning. You can also find episodes of this show, B-Movie Enema the series, on the website as well as on YouTube. Subscribe to him there to be caught up on all the episodes, as well as to see clips from other movies he uses in his articles. You can also follow B-Movie Enema on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for him on those sites. You can also find this show on OtherWorlds TV, and if you have Roku, add the channel for free and check out all the obscure movies on that channel, as well as the other hosts that play there on the weekends.
Well, hot damn, I guess we've done all that we can for this episode. We can probably stick a pin in it. Come back next week and check out another episode of B-Movie Enema. Until then...
Jeff?
Yeah?
Jeff?
What?
Fill me with nymphoid satisfaction!